Hey, what's up, everybody? Frederick Polk here. So, when Abraham Lincoln took office in March of 1861, he had a pretty big problem on his hands. He had a full blown rebellion. Several states had already formed another country, uh, the Confederated States of America, the Confederacy, based on, well, they wanted to keep the institution of slavery. Virginia was pretty much gone. And that meant Washington, D.C. had a hostile southern neighbor, and Maryland was getting ready to follow. Now, the people from Maryland, well, they weren't hot for secession, you know, but their governor was. Now, Maryland was a slave state, just like Missouri, Delaware, and Kentucky. And having two Confederate states surrounding your capital in Washington, D.C., well, that wouldn't have been good. That could have meant the end of the war before it began. And you might have had to, relocate the federal government or the Union to Philadelphia, New York, prosecute the war from there, already setting a bad precedent. And there was the fact that James Buchanan, Lincoln's predecessor, hadn't really done anything to help him. So now here's Maryland. They're getting ready to leave based on the actions of their governor. So what did old Abe do? Well, he suspended habeas corpus, basically declared martial law. Said the courts, you ain't operating right now. And he locked the governor up. And that was that. And so Kentucky and Delaware, Maryland, and Missouri, they didn't join the Confederacy. That nipped secession fever in the bud right there. Stop the bleeding, if you will. So today I want to talk about the necessity of now and the urgency that comes with that, and about not putting arbitrary limits on yourself and testing institutional boundaries. That's what this video is going to focus on today, and how opposition leaders in elected offices currently need to do a hell of a lot more to stand up to Trump. And I'll get to that in a minute. Now, you might be saying, Fred, man, there's a lot of Democrats and they're doing what they can, man. AOC, Jasmine Crockett, hell, Al Green stood up at the State of the Union. And that's all fine. That's all well and good. But they need to do more. And they need to open themselves up to the possibility of more. Let's fast forward to another world war. Well, let's fast forward to a world war. World War II specifically. And let's talk about the Manhattan Project. Now, there's a lot of interesting historical anecdotes of that. But just know that the Manhattan Project really didn't kick off until about October of 1941. I mean, we're talking about just like theoretical stuff, and it really didn't get hot. Like, if you read about it, there's a whole bunch of stuff that really didn't even get going hot and heavy until 1943, about March. That's when we were in the war, and we made it a point of asking the British, hey, man, you guys are working on some stuff that we really could use. Why don't y'all come on over and help us design this bomb we're creating? And so we started working with our allies in March of 1943. Hell, even before that got started, they didn't contact American physicists for a good bit. But by July 16th, 1945, we do our first field test. That's when Oppenheimer quoted the Bhagavad Gita. The famous quote of, "I have become death, destroyer of worlds." Yeah, that's the one. So basically, a little less than 4 years from conception, like we're talking theoretical stuff, when you don't even have your best and brightest on it. And it's not even possible They don't even know that an atomic bomb is possible. To 3.5 years later, thereabouts, it's done. You got a bomb. And then you got the Enola Gay that's getting ready to drop it. You know, the one that they decided to cut from the websites because it had the word gay in it. Yeah, that's the one. 3.5 years. You don't even have the science to do it. You just think you do. Nothing's tested. Nothing's confirmed, but you do it. And yet we can't stand up to some South African billionaire, a ketamine addict, and a reality show TV star, multiple failed businesses, multiple bankruptcies, a convicted felon, an adjudicated rapist, a fraudster. We can't stand up to this guy who's going through dementia. You're not going to save your institutions by letting them hem you in. You're not. You're going to have to be bold, opposition leaders. You're going to have to step outside of things. See, because right now, whether it's a full-blown soft coup, hard coup, a fascist coup, an authoritarian, blah, 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 whatever tags you want to put on it, Donald Trump is dismantling the government. He's dismantling the House of the People. He's broken our norms. He's broken with our allies. He's siding with Russia, our enemy, the free world's enemy. And I'm not saying that to scare everybody, right? I mean, it's scary, and I understand if you are, but I'm not saying that, in a panic. These are the stakes that we're playing with. That's what they brought to the table. They want to strip our government down. They want to sell the floorboards. They want to sell everything because it's part of the grift. And then they want to privatize it and make it worse. And even worse than that, so the people do not have a say in it. Just some CEO that's worried about their profit margins. And we've seen how that works out with private health insurance, with them denying thousands of folks that die from preventable illnesses. And you get worse outcomes for it. That's what they want to do to our government. That's what they want to do to all of our states. These are the stakes. You need to do more. You need to step outside of these institutional confines. I'm not talking about violence. I'm not talking about doing anything radical. In fact, I'm telling you to do that because I don't want it to go there. But this, we're trying to curb the worst impulses of them by compromising with them, because that's what you do. Yeah, when the other side is good faith. Not this, whatever this is. Totalitarianism, fascism, whatever ism you want to put on it. But it ain't right. And that's our problem, is we're so worried about how we do things and what we can do and what's permissible and this and that and this mother may I stuff. No, we got to get out of that. You got to be bold. You got to say, we're doing this because it's the right thing to do. And here's why it's the right thing to do, and we're doing it. And then go do it. You don't make compromises with fascists or authoritarians. You don't. You stand against them. And you need to do more of it. You show solidarity. You back up a guy like Al Green. You walk out with him. The folks that were escorting him out, you get up and say, no, man, we got it. go ahead and leave Al alone. We're going to walk out with you, Al. That's what you do. You want to fight this and you want to hang around, that's what you got to do. I know a lot of y'all are like, oh no, it'll pass. You know, it's going to pass and we'll get to keep our jobs and, you know, we'll be okay. You won't. You won't. I don't know where this goes. And I'm not saying it automatically goes somewhere bad. But you were elected to do something. You're not going to get points for sitting on your hands. You need to stand for what's right. And you need to stand up now. There's no other moment in recent American history that calls for you to do that. This is the civil rights vote. That's what this is. You're going on the record every day. So make a stand. Make a stand for what's right. Tell the folks why you're making that stand. You're going to have a lot more backers than you think you do. After all, hell, you're just going up against Donald Trump. Anyway, that's all I got for you. Keep the faith, defend democracy. I'll see you later.